am trying to do this, please. The broadcast has made. Hello, my fans. This is Livestream with Poppyriffic's stream. So, oh, hello. Welcome back to Poppyriffic Livestreams. I hope you have a good day ever. Can I just why are you on stream mode? Mister, and okay, you might live stream in a minute, that's what happened all time. New stream. Then they kick us out of my stream. Please. Well. 20 Saturday Fox. Maybe I have to make one for a reason now. Mister, I'm even seeing this now and fake, and this is fake and all, and type. Take 22, I said. Stephen Art is very well, but Mister, I said the stream will be very nice. This is my stream, and this is not even my stream. I was just so sorry that this stream was very live at all. But this stream, well, I don't know. I hate the stream. 21st century Poppy and Bread. I spelled wrong. It wasn't 20th. I spelled wrong. It was supposed to be 21st century Poppy and Bread. Please add warmer. Can't you just please add warmer? Warmer, please. Warmer. Castle Karen, can you please? Can you please add him? No. Welcome to Kentucky. Welcome to Kentucky. Welcome to Kentucky. Welcome to Kentucky. I need to go and do this again. Reshare your screen again, please. And now you have to close it to your computer now. Mister? Spice King. So, don't copy my Take 22 message. Yes. have makeup on my face. Making me angry. Only login code. You can't even fix this. Oh, I can't fix my code. How can I make a live stream? like the zombie. Yes, yes. Made a StreamYard link. Names. Yes! Down those links.
It says, it says,
Then actor Johnny Depp wins in court, but so does his ex-wife.
And we're there as the power finally comes back on. CTV News at 6 starts right now.
Turn on subtitles.
In favor of actor Johnny Depp.
That Ms. Heard acted in actual malice. Answer, yes.
A jury finds Amber Heard did defame her former partner. You may be revealing more than you think when you ordered that morning coffee. Government watchdogs say the Tim Hortons mobile ordering app violated the law.
I said turn on subtitles.
It's been called the grandparent scam.
For elderly people on fixed income, that type of loss is, like I said, extremely devastating.
A cruel fraud that preys on the elderly. Now 2 people are charged. And there's no moment like this moment.
Kill and tight, kill Lord, I'm so happy.
And a half, the power comes back for some of the hundreds out the longest.
Good evening. With a defamation lawsuit against his ex-wife.
Called the grandparent scam.
For elderly people, sometimes on a fixed income, that type of loss is, like I said, extremely devastating. Like I said, extremely devastating.
A cruel fraud. A moment like this moment.
Kill and tight, kill Lord, I'm so happy.
After a week and a half, the power by collecting information from users.
Then actor
My name
Johnny
is
Depp
Del, my
wins
name
in
is
court,
Del, my
but
name
so
is-
does his ex-wife.
And finally comes back on. CTV News at 6 starts right now. Tonight, ruling in favor of actor Johnny Depp.
That Ms. Heard acted in actual malice. Answer, yes.
A jury finds Amber Heard did defame her former partner. You may be revealing more than you think when you order that morning coffee. Government watchdogs say the Tim Hortons mobile ordering app violated the law by collecting information from users. It's been called the grandparent scam.
For elderly people, sometimes on a fixed income, that type of loss is, like I said, extremely devastating.
A cruel fraud that preys on the elderly. Now 2 people are charged. And there's no moment like this moment.
Kill and tight, kill Lord, I'm so happy.
After a week and a half, the power comes back for some of the hundreds out the longest.
Good evening. We begin tonight with breaking news. Actor Johnny Depp has won his defamation lawsuit against his ex-wife, Amber Heard.
Heard now owes Depp $15 million, but she too is awarded some damages.
CTV's Stefan Keys is here with more details on this. Steph?
Graham, it's likely fair comment to say the details were gripping, jaw-dropping, and at some points disgusting. Human feces left on a bed, a narrative full of strong allegations around a scorned woman and an abusive man, all of it coming to a close today.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes.
It's the moment millions have been waiting for. Who exactly would come out a winner in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation case?
Johnny Depp, I think, will have a successful day today.
And by all accounts, he did, even though he was a no-show to the verdict being read out.
Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, no.
The jury unanimously finding Heard liable for defamation in several instances, awarding Depp $15 million. The Pirates of the Caribbean star back on stage singing with Jeff Beck in London overnight. Well received by the crowd as the jury was readying itself to deliver a decision following 3 days of deliberation.
We are grateful, so grateful to the jury for their careful deliberation to the judge and the court staff who have devoted an enormous amount of time and resources towards this case.
This was the headline in the original Washington Post article dated December 18th, 2018. An op-ed titled, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change."
Because they're both public figures, the jury has to find either actual malice, saying something that you know to be untrue.
We saw that there were so many times that Amber Heard lied.
For 7 weeks, the public became privy to an explosive trial full of shocking bedroom details. While some have it as a source of entertainment, many advocates of domestic violence are pointing to its dangers. Women's Shelters Canada, based here in the capital, tweets, "While we have never seen such support for an alleged victim of domestic violence like that shown, are also concerned about the way a woman who alleges she has been a victim of domestic violence has been mistreated by the media and general public." Heard herself awarded $2 million in a countersuit, asking for $100 million, issued this statement. "The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband." Advocates of feminism worry victims of domestic violence may feel reluctant to come forward after watching all of this play out. And some wonder if this would have turned out differently if there weren't only 2 women on the 7-person jury, Patricia.
All right, CTV's Stefan Key is live for us tonight. Thank you.
And stay with CTV News for continuing
I'm
coverage
so glad
of
that
the Amber Heard Johnny Depp defamation trial. For updates on radio, tune in to News Talk 580 CFRA or News Channel at any hour.
Canada's privacy commissioner
Yes.
says Tim Hortons mobile ordering app
Getting out
violated
of
the law
jail.
by collecting location information from users.
An investigation
getting out
found
of
that
jail.
those who downloaded the app had their locations tracked, even when
Yes.
the app was not open.
CTV's Natalie Van Roy following this story for us tonight. Natalie?
Patricia, the investigation by federal and provincial privacy watchdogs found the app violated the law by tracking vast amounts of data, even when the app was not open on people's phones. A report revealing that people who downloaded the Tim Hortons app had their location tracked and recorded every few minutes. The commissioners found the app asked for permission to access the mobile device's geolocation functions, but misled users to believe that information would be accessed only when the app was in use. The report says Tim Hortons collected the data with the aim of delivering targeted advertising to better promote its coffee and products, but that it never actually used the data for this purpose. Ontario's former privacy commissioner was not involved in the report, but weighed in.
Don't track your customers. You're making an app available for them to facilitate them ordering products and to give you business. Great. But the minute you go beyond that and third parties can gain access to your data, your location, why would you do that? This is what is appalling to me. They would engage in this kind of behavior without any thought of people consenting to it.
The watchdogs found that Tim Hortons used the data location to infer where users lived, where they worked, and whether they were traveling. The company says it only used location data in a limited way to analyze user trends, like whether people switched to other coffee chains and how user movements changed after the pandemic hit. Now, the watchdog said while Tim Hortons stopped continually tracking users' locations after the probe began, this did not end the risk of surveillance. Graham.
All right, CTV's Natalie Van Roy reporting live for us tonight. Thanks. Work continues tonight to get back power for hundreds of people in the city who remain without it.
Hydro returned to some streets today. CTV News was there as residents reacted with jubilation when those lights came back.
By late this afternoon, there were still 1,100 Hydro Ottawa customers without power. The bulk of the work should be done by Friday. CTV's Jeremy Sharon joins us live with the latest from the Pine Glen neighborhood tonight. Jeremy.
Graham, this is Beldoon Street in Pine Glen. Most streets in the area look just like this, lined with trees that have been removed. It's far from over here, but it was a good day for many residents as hydro crews made their way through the area, quite literally home by home, restoring power to those still without it.
Oh, thank you, Lord. I'm so happy.
Today was the day the Williams have been waiting for.
I could have a shower. I could clean the house.
After 12 days in the dark, power restored here just minutes before this interview.
The light just came on automatically. And my wife go, yay, just incredible. And we absolutely take it for granted that this is Canada. You will always have power, you will always have water, you will always go down to Costco or whoever and buy food, and you couldn't do that.
But the Williams were prepared.
I can't tell you how many of these I have.
The street, Tim and Jen much more got power back Tuesday.
The water was dripping through here.
But they couldn't turn everything back on until now.
The electricians just came and just left and verified that we can actually use it. They had to swap out some breakers in the panel that kept getting tripped.
They only moved back to Ottawa recently after living in Hawaii for 3 years.
And we were so prepared for hurricanes during that time. We had our whole kit, we had our water supply, we had everything. And we've only been here for a few months, so we really weren't prepared for this.
Now they have a generator and say they'll need a storm kit too.
Well, now that we know that, we would have, I think we'll always have a stockpile of water just in case.
Hydro Ottawa says work continues to get everyone's power back by Friday. They're still cleaning up in Pine Glen, arborists working around the clock.
It's still a tremendous amount of work. Like I've got 6 guys here, and we won't be done cleaning up these yards for at least a month.
And so while the work here is far from over, there is relief today for many in this neighborhood, feeling re-energized, quite literally.
Everybody was celebrating except us.
Now, for anyone still without power, you can visit the Hydro Ottawa outage map for an estimate. We also know there's still two schools in the city without power tonight. That's Sacred Heart in Stittsville and St. Monica just around the corner from here. Patricia?
So still a bit of work to do, but I don't know if there's much that's better than a hot shower in your own home after 12 days without power. That was pretty good. Jeremy, thank you. CTV's Jeremy Sharon live for us tonight. Can you imagine over a week and a half, really no power and finally?
It's been a real grind for a lot of people. So that's great to see. That's great to see that they're back, and it is coming slowly. There's still a handful or quite a few.
Last few little pockets. You're wondering, why am I the last to be
Yeah.
without power? But everyone's been working so hard, of course, to bring it back.
Some shelter in the rain here, Patricia. Look at this. This is a performer in the Byron Market. It came down quite a bit.
Really, really hard. When our coworkers are walking into the building wearing garbage bags, you know it was a sudden downpour out there. Yeah. Country blues performance there in the market. I missed that one. I was in here where it was dry. We do have a continued chance of showers into this evening. Tomorrow we'll see mainly cloudy skies and then about a 60% chance of showers again on Friday. We do have a nice looking weekend ahead though, quite pleasant. Tonight you'll see 16 degrees, possibility of a thunderstorm depending where you are. A little better tomorrow, 14 and cloudy at 7 a.m. That should warm up to 17 by the noon hour and some peaks of sunshine into the afternoon for you tomorrow. Right now in the capital, we sit at 17 degrees with a chance of showers. That was our daytime high today.
One day before the provincial election, the final push for Ottawa candidates trying to get an edge with voters.
There are still a number of ridings in the capital that could be decided by razor-thin margins. CTV's Colton Prale taking a look at those numbers. Colton?
Patricia, it's no surprise politicos are turning their attention to the capital. Some of the ridings here decided by just a few hundred votes, and experts say this year it could be just as close.
Ottawa candidates making one last push before voters head to the polls. The region expected to feature several tight races, but experts say the outcome could look similar to 2018, where Conservatives took 4 of 8 ridings and the NDP just 1.
Ottawa Centre looks like it's going NDP. The others, Orleans and Vanier and Ottawa South, are pretty safe Liberal bets.
There are some ridings that could flip, particularly Ottawa West and Nepean, where the 2018 count was decided by just 175 votes. Doug Ford and Andrea Horvath both making appearances in the riding this week.
Actually, so I do have a question. Sure.
NDP candidate Chandra Pasma hoping to succeed the second time around.
Because of the close result last time, 175 votes, people know that this time the NDP is a strategic choice. They know that we have the support in the riding, and they know that we can win this time.
While the Liberals are gunning for a 3-horse race.
Our mission is to make sure that we win this because that's what the constituents want.
For some voters, the ground game is making a difference.
I think this is fantastic, actually. You know, I was actually, instead of looking it up online,
trying to find my answers, at least I get to speak to somebody. NDP is the only people who've been by here.
Healthcare still driving the votes of many.
Two things that are important for me are social issues, healthcare and education.
But others say the Ford government has shown they deserve another chance.
Probably really good government. And I think the only way to go is still with the Conservatives.
Just outside Ottawa, another tight race in Glengarry Prescott Russell. The incumbent, Amanda Samard, a former PC and independent MP, now running for the Liberals.
It's been back and forth the entire campaign. I think in the last week or so, we've seen a tendency toward the Conservatives.
And with so many tight races in the capital region, voters say they're not sure what to expect.
Boy, it's a wild deck of cards that we're playing with right now.
CTV News did reach out to Ottawa West MP and incumbent Jeremy Roberts for this story, but we did not receive a response. Grant.
All right, CTV's Colton Frail reporting live for us tonight. Thanks, Colton. A new poll suggests healthcare remains the top priority for Ontario voters ahead of tomorrow's vote. The latest Nanos survey conducted for CTV News and CP24 finds that 89% of respondents said investing in healthcare is an important priority for the next government. 80% listed helping Ontarians deal with the rising cost of living as their next highest priority. The vote is tomorrow. Today, that final full day of campaigning for all the party leaders.
And the opposition parties insist the race is not over. They can still defeat Doug Ford tomorrow. Here's our Queen's Park reporter, Siobhan Morris.
The NDP bus racked up a lot of kilometers from Brampton into southwestern Ontario and back as the hours ticked down. Andrea Horvath says hers has been a hopeful campaign.
Showing people that you don't have to keep bouncing back and forth between governments that never fix the things that are broken. We can have a government that actually does that.
All this smile. Sticking to Toronto for his final day, the Liberal leader also made a case for a change at the top.
There's only one individual in this province who I know, watching his performance over the past 4 years, is not the right person for the job of being premier. His name is Doug Ford.
But a new Nanos research survey for CTV News and CP24 finds Ford's progressive Conservatives are poised for a second term. PCs have about 36% support among those polled. The Liberals about 24%, the NDP right behind at 23%, and the Green Party has roughly 6% support. About 8% of voters are undecided. He was door knocking in Peel region ahead of a rally tonight. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Tune in for Thursday's special election night coverage starting at 7 p.m. on CTV News Channel and 9 p.m. right here on the main network. An update now on the crash that killed 3 people west of Perth early Tuesday. OPP are appealing for witnesses who may have seen the vehicles before the head-on crash. It happened around 11 a.m. on Christie Lake Road between Glen Tay Road and Bowes Side Road. Police released the names of 3 victims today: 40-year-old Tim Shepard of Perth, 57-year-old Robert Bremner of Maberly, and 73-year-old Rose Dixon, also of Maberly. One person did survive the crash and was taken to hospital with serious injuries.
Anybody has any information, witnessed the collision or has any information they could share, we would definitely want to hear from them by calling our 1-888-310-1122 number. But again, tragic circumstances, tragic situation. Our hearts go out to the families impacted by this tragic crash, and we will work to determine what the cause was.
Christie Lake Road was closed for several hours Tuesday for the investigation. It reopened just after 5 p.m.
Ottawa police say foul play is not suspected in the death of a 74-year-old man who was reported missing nearly 2 months ago. Police say the man's vehicle was located in the area of Vimy Memorial Bridge and River Road around April 4th when police asked for the public's help in locating him. His body has since been recovered in the Rideau River. Well, it is a scam that preys on the elderly, their fear, and can be financially devastating.
Now, 2 people have been charged in an alleged grandparent scam. Ottawa police releasing their photos, hoping to identify more victims. Here's CTV's Katie Griffin.
The call was so convincing.
He sounded like my grandson. You see, that's the whole point.
2 weeks ago, this man, who asked us not to use his name, received a call from someone claiming to be his grandson. It was an emergency, he said. He'd been in a crash, arrested for drug possession, and needed thousands in bail money.
I'm in the lockup in the city jail. He said, and I need bail money to get out.
On the line, not his grandson, but a fraudster looking to cash in, targeting the vulnerable.
The grandparent scam. It's a very devastating scam.
And a growing number of people are falling victim to it. Ottawa police receiving more than 10 complaints from victims allegedly defrauded of more than $100,000 in the last few months alone. This week, in collaboration with Morrisburg OPP, Ottawa police charging 19-year-old Danielle Jimenez Goles and 22-year-old Jason Goulet Fernandez of Montreal. They're accused of defrauding 5 people of more than $46,000.
The message really is if you have any elderly parents or grandparents, friends or neighbors, you need to have these conversations with them. You need to make them aware that this is happening. It can be extremely devastating because for elderly people sometimes on a fixed income, that type of loss is like I said, extremely devastating.
After taking out thousands of dollars from the bank, this man waited for the next move.
The best thing they could think of was for me to FedEx the money to him. And that's when I balked because everything started to add up wrong. And I said, no, I'm not FedExing money. The line went squawky, dead, screaming, wheel, all electronic sounds, and then nothing.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre says don't be afraid to say no. Don't give out personal information and do your research.
We know that there's more victims out there because we understand that this can be extremely upsetting and some people may be embarrassed to report it, but please report it. It might help solve other cases and lay more charges.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
The Bank of Canada raised its benchmark interest rate 0.5 point today, the 3rd increase this year.
And there are signs the higher cost of borrowing is already slowing down Ottawa's housing market. CTV's Leah Larocque reports.
A trip to the grocery store for Tara Peel just keeps getting more and more expensive.
You know, a lot of the staples are expensive, of course, meat and vegetables and fruit and, 2 kids, so.
The Bank of Canada taking another step to rein in soaring inflation, hiking the central bank interest rate up 0.5 percentage point to 1.5%. This is the 3rd straight increase this year.
And if they don't act now, the danger is that the problem will just get much worse.
Meaning borrowing money just got more expensive.
Or borrowing for mortgages or credit cards or buying a car are going to have to tighten our belts. That's the harsh reality. But this is sort of the tough medicine the Bank of Canada has to deliver.
In April, inflation hit 6.8%. That's the highest it's been in 30 years. Things like gas and food way up. But the Bank of Canada also pointing to the war in Ukraine, China's COVID-19 lockdown, as well as global supply chain issues, all driving up inflation.
It's very clear now that interest rates do have a direct impact in borrowing power, in property values. And obviously, housing is one of the hot topics towards inflation, right?
Ottawa's red-hot real estate market slowing down as interest rates go up.
Not necessarily a softening market, but, a market that's going through some transition. We're seeing a market where, buyers are having an opportunity for the first time in a long time where they're able to negotiate with sellers.
The Bank of Canada hinting more hikes are on the way.
It's like this time around, the bank is probably pushing towards at least 2%. We'll probably see that in July.
It sounds better that they're trying to help us figure this out, but I'm sure it's going to take a while before something actually happens.
I think it'll come. Like we've been through a hard few years, so I think it'll come.
Leah Larocque, CTV News.
We are learning tonight supply chain issues mean a delay in scheduled LRT maintenance. The general manager of OC Transpo says work on Line 1 was due to take place in mid-June, but it is postponed because of delays getting rail delivered. Service adjustments from the Herdman station to Blair planned for this month are put on hold until OC Transpo can get those parts. Well, today marks the official start of Pride Month. The month honors the LGBTQ2S+ community, celebrates their successes, and stands firm against hatred and discrimination. In Toronto, Pride Month will culminate with the first in-person Pride Parade in 2 years. That's scheduled for June 26th. The start of June also marks the beginning of National Indigenous History Month, a time for Canadians to reflect on the histories, cultures, and contributions of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples in Canada.
Some final touches and rehearsals happened in London today for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. 4 days of official celebrations kick off tomorrow. The Queen's annual birthday parade will feature hundreds of officers and soldiers, army musicians, and more than 200 horses. Millions are expected to come together for a national thank you on Saturday. It will be a massive party.
That is a big bash, for sure.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting. Well, coming up, the list of Canada's best restaurants, and a handful of them are right here in Ottawa.
I would say it's still a better way for us to be protected.
And tourism operators say it's time for the federal government to make cross-border travel a little easier. Taking a look at our first picture of the day, it comes to us from Graham, not that Graham, and Louise Boardman. Remember, you can check out all of our pictures of the day on our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca, and click on the photo gallery. As we take a live look now through our downtown camera, where the temperature in Ottawa is 17 degrees. Chance of some showers this evening. Looks better tomorrow.
CHEO touches the lives of more than 500,000 patients every year.
Providing compassionate care and leading-edge treatment to children, youth, and their families.
The CHEO Telethon on CTV Ottawa is a meaningful way to help thousands of families that need CHEO. Donate from now until June 5th at CHEOTelethon.com, and your gift will be doubled.
Watch the CHEO Telethon Sunday, June 5th from 1 to 7 p.m. and be a part of what makes your CHEO special. COVID-19 restrictions at Canadian borders are being extended for at least this month, which means foreign tourists must continue to prove they are fully vaccinated.
As summer tourism ramps up, there are calls to ease all restrictions at the border. CTV's Tyler Fleming reports.
Post-pandemic travel is here for Mildred Rada and her family.
We're going to the Philippines. That's my hometown.
And when this group of 6 arrives, Rada hopes for few airport delays as PCR entry tests there are no longer needed.
For us, it's kind of a little less chaos because could you imagine?
A nightmare scene like this, long lines and even longer waits. Toronto's Pearson Airport and other major Canadian hubs are packed with travelers waiting to clear customs, and it's hurting Canada's image.
We do not want to see people coming to visit Canada this summer and having to wait on the tarmac.
Airports blame federal COVID protocols and say many of the requirements are no longer necessary.
But there are more steps to take. We're short about 900 CATSA staff, which is the screening authority when you're leaving the country.
The government doesn't agree.
We have been anchored in science. We're reflecting on what the best way to do to make sure that we can get back to the things we love as quickly as possible.
When restrictions end, more travelers will likely choose Canada.
When they reduced the restrictions a couple of months ago, our industry certainly saw a bump in travel.
But for now, some travelers are fine with the way things are.
We'd like to know that when we're going on that plane, that we're not necessarily going to be sitting next to somebody who has not protected themselves.
I would say it's still a better way for us to be protected.
And everyone is hoping for on-time departures and connections made.
So hopefully it's going to be a smooth travel for us.
Unvaccinated residents returning to Canada must provide proof of a negative PCR test and quarantine for 2 weeks. All travelers, regardless of their citizenship, must also continue to submit their health information through the Arrive Can app in order to cross the border. Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Taking time to get back to that normal. It's just the airports for a lot of travelers have been really bad. And not
Other
just in
than that,
Canada.
though, travel is so relaxing.
Yeah, everything's great.
No
Yeah.
headaches
Yeah.
at all. Yeah. Always fun. Good when you get where you're going, though. As we
Mhm.
check your weather forecast, brought to you by the Jimmy LaPointe Automotive Group. Make it a LaPointe to come on in. Today's weather might make you wish you were elsewhere on vacation, but tomorrow looks better. 17 degrees and a chance of showers. That was about as warm as we got today. 17. We're going to get down to 13 overnight. Still a slight possibility of some showers. The system moving through to the south of us there for the most part. Could see a thunderstorm, but not as likely over the next few hours. As we look at your lows tonight, mostly cloudy. 13 here in Ottawa, 12 in Cornwall, 16 in Brockville, 13 in Kingston and Trenton, a little cooler in Bancroft, 14 degrees in Maniwaki and Petawawa, 12 in Tremblant and Montreal, the same across the river in Gatineau, 13 degrees in Kemptville. Taking a look at that cross-Canada picture, 4 degrees and mostly cloudy in St. John's. We do have some sunshine in Fredericton, 27 degrees in Windsor. So that was a warm spot today. And out west, pretty similar temperatures right across the prairies, 18, 19 degrees, a little bit of sunshine, shower in Vancouver. Tomorrow we should see 22 degrees, mostly dry, cloudy in the morning, some sunshine for you in the afternoon. 24 in Kingston, 23 in Trenton tomorrow. The rest of us, 21, 22 degrees, maybe a 23 for you in Tremblant. Your 7-day forecast is brought to you by Davidson Hearing Aid Centers, bringing you the latest in hearing aid technology. Get connected with a Davidson hearing aid. Mix of sun and cloud and 22 tomorrow. Same temperature on Friday, but more likely we're going to see some shower activity on Friday. Sunshine on Saturday, very pleasant, a little cooler, 18 degrees, and that overnight low getting back into single-digit territory. A mix of sun and cloud and 22 on Sunday. We could see some showers early next week.
We are counting down the days until the 39th annual CHEO Telethon. Each day this week, our kid correspondent Henry will take you behind the scenes at CHEO. Today, Henry visits the CHEO Research Institute.
Hi, I'm Henry, and today we're at the CHEO Research Institute, and today we're gonna learn about a freezer that keeps frozen cells. What's in the freezer?
Actually, we keep cells in there, and there's some DNA, some viruses, and bacteria.
How could you use it?
We use it in experiments all the time when we're doing research on cancer or diabetes or any other sort of disease.
How long do you keep cells in the freezer?
We can keep them in there for 30, 40 years, and in fact, we have samples in here that are that old.
What? Do you think you could solve a cure for any of those?
We're really hoping we can, and we're also hoping that what we store in this freezer is going to help us find a cure.
Thanks for showing me the freezer, Lynn.
Well, thank you for coming by, Henry. Great questions.
That's all for today, folks. At CHEO News, I'm Henry.
Nice job, Henry. Again, the CHEO Telethon takes place this Sunday, June 5th, right here on CTV, starting at 1 p.m.
Either our job is not that hard or Henry's really good.
He's very good, making it easy, making it look easy.
Yeah.
Well, coming up, trending items tonight, the catch of the day on the Blue Jays home turf.
Love that one. And Ottawa on the menu.
We just kind of give it our all for every guest.
The top places to eat right here in the capital.
Six restaurants in our region have been named to a list of the top 100 in Canada. The list is back after a 2-year hiatus because of the pandemic. On that list for the third time is Becta Dining and Wine. And for the first time making the list, Supply and Demand on Wellington Street West. Both restaurants honored to be among the best in the country.
It feels terrific to be able to be on the top 100 list again, and this is something that we've had the honor of being on a few times before, and especially in our 19th year of business, where a lot of these spots are pretty brand new. It's a real honor.
For us, it's really just about giving our team.
Like holding off the run. Trying to make it to the bathroom.
No, I don't know that it
I don't think it really matters if you host it. It's going to come out. It's going to come out.
Top 100, North and Navy, Riviera, Alex, Chillier, and Lincoln.
Get in here.
Coverage of the places to eat in the city. There are also more stories online. CTV News Ottawa.
Well, he went outside.
Putting it on my to-do.
Time now for us to first up this amazing catch at the Blue Jays game last night. Even the commentators.
Down the right field line, but foul, and the count is full. And what a grab by the ball boy down the line. That was outstanding.
That rocket directly over the head of the ball boy. But of course, he made that amazing catch, catching the attention of social media.
Do you see the face of the guy in behind? I don't know if we're going to see it again. You zoom in to the right there, that guy's face. Like, what? Thought that was coming right to him. Yeah.
Generally, aren't ball boys, are they're baseball players, right? Like, they're obviously into baseball.
I mean, they're young baseball players. They're not professionals.
No, but
and that's a lot of pressure, I guess, when everyone's looking at you. And that was a pretty good vertical reach, I would say.
Lots
don't see that
of
too often. Yeah, yeah, good for him. So this next item, you can pass go, collect $200. You know what game I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And now use a thimble once again when you do it. So Monopoly is updating the tokens players can use and bringing back the thimble. The T-Rex token going extinct. Company held a vote to see which token should be returned. The thimble was the winner. Wait for this. Wait for it. Thumbs down.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why did they take it away? We don't know. And
Just
what, they
wanted
put
to
in a
mix it up, I
dinosaur?
think.
They put in a dinosaur, a T-Rex? Like,
Make it fun for the kids. I don't know.
okay.
People like their tried and true tokens, though. I always have to be the dog.
You're the dog?
Yeah.
The shoe? There's the car? The hat? Right? Is it a hat?
That's a good list. Yeah.
It's been a while since I played it, but you'd be very good at Monopoly.
I
because-
cried losing at that game as a kid when you just suddenly lose all your
as a
money.
kid.
Everything's mortgaged. Fairly recently.
Fairly recently.
Kiddish. Yeah.
The Canadian band Blue Rodeo, Patricia, has a street named after them in Toronto now.
So many good things in my life and our career have happened because they were fostered in Toronto. Toronto was an incredible and always has been an incredible music scene that was very devoted to local musicians playing original music, and that was not the case in many places in the world.
That, of course, is Jim Cuddy. For those of you who know Toronto, Blue Rodeo Drive is north of Gerrard, west of Broadview, where the band's studio is located. And in their sound, they have that downtown Toronto 80s sound and fabulous. Good for them.
So Blue Rodeo Drive, not Blue Rodeo Drive, I guess.
Right. I think it's
Bit of
Blue
a ring
Rodeo.
to it. Nice for them. Good tribute.
Yeah. Coming up, the reason why it's taking so long for customers to get a new car.
And the night market opens tonight.
We're here at Parkdale Park for the launch of the Parkdale Night Market, coming back in its second year.
We'll show you a West Ottawa destination open late this summer.
Canada Army Run is no ordinary race. It goes beyond just winning and losing. It's about pride and determination. It's about pushing limits and having fun no matter what lies ahead. Canada Army Run is excited to be back in person while still offering a virtual event. From September 9th to 18th, run, walk, or roll and raise funds for Support Our Troops and Soldier On, two charities that provide assistance for military members in need and their families. Register today at armyrun.ca.
Well, the Edmonton Oilers came out on the losing end of a wild, high-scoring showdown in Game 1 of the Western Conference Final last night.
Logan O'Connor, the former DU product, across, scores! Andrew Cogliano.
The Colorado Avalanche jumped out to a 7-3 lead before the Oilers staged a beautiful comeback. Edmonton got within a goal of tying it, but the Avs added an empty netter to take the game 8-6. The Oilers challenged a goal by the Avs, arguing the play was offside. Take a look. The goal would stand after a video review. Very controversial. Well, the Parkdale Night Market returns for its second year, taking place every evening from 5 to 9.
It's a chance for residents to pick up items from their local favorites. The Parkdale Market is located west of downtown at Wellington and Parkdale. CTV's Jackie Perez is there.
Graham, there was a little rain earlier this evening, but that hasn't stopped residents from coming out to the first Parkdale Public Night Market of the season. The Ottawa markets are typically held during the day, but with the success of last year's evening market here in Parkdale, organizers decided to bring it back for a second year.
Night markets are a bit different. You're going to find some oddities and some unique purchases. We've taken over the street. We've got great vendors. from Little Joe Barry's Hungry Babe, Vodka. We got some great fresh produce out here. We got Nat's bread. If you look right down the market this way, this is our fun way to sort of have a great time getting reacquainted with each other as we come out of the lockdown.
Last year, the market was designated to this area, but due to its popularity, the market expanded to an additional block to Hamilton Street. The Parkdale Night Market runs every night from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And organizers say to keep an eye out for next Thursday. That's when they're launching the Byron Night Market. Graham, Patricia.
All right, thanks, Jackie. Well, coming up, a top banker says an economic hurricane is on the horizon.
And in the market for a new car, well, you might have to wait.
The ones who can wait are paying full sticker and they're waiting for their vehicle.
New cars are at a premium, so are the prices.
Bell Media Weekenders is back, powered by Bargain Board.
If you're looking for the best events and activities to experience in the National Capital Region, hi, I'm Sam McDade, your Bell Media Weekender. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV and your favorite Bell Media radio stations. This includes Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA.
Bell Media Weekenders, powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store.
Buyers in the market for cars better prepare to face some new challenges, including fewer to select from and longer wait times and higher pricing.
Many of the 2022s are sold out through the end of the year. And new car buyers know that. The ones who can wait are paying full sticker and they're waiting for their vehicle.
Experts say car shortages are largely because of supply chain issues. That's forced manufacturers to produce fewer cars in the last year. Shortages have also resulted in price increases, with some dealerships reporting a 17% price increase for new cars, a 38% increase for used cars. It is wheels up for Flair Airlines after the Canadian Transportation Agency determined that the company is Canadian after all. The budget airline's licenses that allow it to fly were under investigation because of Flair's dealings with a U.S. investor. The airline had until May 3rd to prove it was Canadian. The company made its changes to its board of directors and shareholders and now have more say.
Well, one of America's top bankers is warning investors to prepare for an economic hurricane. Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg brings us the latest in business.
Hello there. Jamie Dimon, the chief executive of JP Morgan, says challenges such as rising interest rates and the war in Ukraine mean that, quote, a hurricane is right out there down the road coming our way. You better brace yourself. His economists see U.S. growth sliding as low as 1% in the second half of next year, dragged down by falling stocks, higher mortgage rates, and a strong U.S. dollar hurting exports. American shares have dropped more than 13% so far in 2022, the worst start to a year in more than half a century. Let's check in on the markets. The Canadian dollar changed hands at 79.03 US cents, down a fraction. WTI oil was at $115.26, up 59 cents. Western Canadian Select Oil traded at $97.74 a barrel, up 97 cents. And the TSX Composite Stock Index settled at 20,713.72, down just over 15 points. That is the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
In a moment, trouble in Las Vegas.
A licensing company with a threat that has the city's wedding industry up. Our photo of the day is brought to you by Bad Boy Furniture and Appliances. And our picture comes to us from Ian McClatchy, who writes, can you spot this little male eastern screech owl having an afternoon nap? Oh, yeah, there he is. These guys are nocturnal, apparently, so they sleep all day and hunt at night. Remember, you can check out all of our pictures of the day on our site, ctvnewsottawa.ca. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
No more look at the improving weather forecast.
Yes, there's a lot of rain this afternoon. Still a chance of a shower this evening, but hopefully we won't see much of that. Drier tomorrow, 14 degrees when you wake up. Should hit a high of 22 degrees, a little bit of sun in the afternoon. Likely some showers on Friday, then back to sunshine for Saturday. Cooler temperature 18, a mix of sun and cloud, and 22 for your Sunday. Our weather watcher today is Hamza, Zaid, and Ranjith, all in grade 6 at Barhaven Public School, getting some nice collaborative efforts there. Spring is here, and those gorgeous trees, a few clouds, but that beautiful sunshine as well in the corner.
And a bird on top of the stump there.
Yeah.
Great work.
New home.
Finally for us tonight, Elvis impersonators in Vegas could soon be banned from wedding
A
ceremonies.
licensing company that controls the name and image of Elvis is ordering some travel operators to stop using Elvis in themed wedding ceremonies. The company alleges that impersonating the king of rock and roll is commercial exploitation and trademark violation. The city's wedding industry generates $2 billion a year. And everyone thinks of Elvis when they think of a Las Vegas wedding, right?
So this has wider implications. Like, okay, no Elvis weddings, and then you can't, like, you've got to, they're going to come after other impersonators for various things, right? Like Elvis, you know? Like, he's not, the impersonators aren't just doing weddings, is my point. They're all over the place in
They're
Vegas.
all over the place. They haven't left the building yet, but
Everyone loves Marineland. 80% of bacteria in your mouth aren't even on teeth.
80%?
Colgate Total is different. It fights bacteria in your whole mouth, protecting 100% of your mouth surfaces. Colgate Total, antibacterial protection for a healthier mouth.
Tonight, the Ford majority.
Well, it's pretty clear that people gave us a mandate with 83 seats.
He'll face in opposition what it means for Ontario going forward. A close look at local races in the region. Rare bad news for Ford's PCs in Nepean. And getting set for a summer of recovery.
Getting on a plane and flying somewhere's been fantastic.
As more people try to get back to normal, can business meet demand?
Good evening. Megan is off tonight. We begin with what was an extraordinary night for provincial Conservatives and Doug Ford. Not only did they win a second, Conservatives also face an opposition that will be in disarray for months to come. Here's Ford today on the resounding victory.
Pretty clear that people gave us a mandate with 83 seats, and we're going to focus on our mandate. We traveled across this province for the last 4 to 5 weeks, setting a clear direction where we're going with this province.
And here are the numbers province-wide. Conservatives with 83 seats, winning in all parts of the province. The NDP retaining official opposition status with 31 seats. The Liberals, a devastating result, just 8 seats. Both Andrea Horvath and Stephen Del Duca resigned last night. All of the local ridings were busy, from the city's core to the suburbs and the rural ridings, with a closer look now at how local races ended up. Here, CTV's Natalie Van Roy.
In an upset for the PC's, NDP Chandra Pasma defeating PC incumbent Jeremy Roberts by only 908 votes.
Well, what I've heard from people is that they felt like the last 4 years the government and the local MPP didn't have their back. Now they're going to have somebody who fights for them really hard every day.
Marking the first time the New Democrats have won the riding of Ottawa West Nepean. To the east in Glengarry Prescott Russell, a flip from red to blue. Stéphane Sarrazin winning the riding with 42% of the vote.
Do something about the cost of living, invest in infrastructure, work for the workers. Those are all priorities.
The PC's taking a hold of the area from Liberal incumbent Amanda Simard, who left the caucus in 2018 over French language cuts. Joel Hardin of the NDP's re-elected for a second term in Ottawa Centre.
There's a lot that's tearing us apart right now. And I think if we can focus on what builds our community up, this is a real breakthrough opportunity for our politics.
Only hours before Andrea Horwath stepped down, Hardin hinting it was time for new leadership, but did not say whether he would run. The 43rd general election saw a record low voter turnout. Only about 43% of eligible voters showed up province-wide. In Ottawa, about 45%.
I was working late and I didn't have the time.
I just think people are just kind of tired of, the government's being involved and elections are an extension of that. So people would rather be out enjoying the weather than voting.
Everyone should be voting if they want change, right? Like, it's unacceptable if, we want change, but we're not doing anything about it.
Have to get out and vote. I mean, you get one opportunity every 4 years, unless we have an early election, to go out and actually have your voice be counted.
Mayor Jim Watson weighing in on what 4 more years of Premier Ford means for the city.
It's in our collective interest when we're working on important issues like storm recovery, affordable housing, public transit, infrastructure, that we work together collaboratively for the benefit of our residents.
Watson says he has a good relationship with the Ford government and looks forward to working on a number of those important files. Natalie Van Roy, CTV News.
So it's another Conservative majority, this one much larger, and a major collapse for 2 opposition parties. With more on that, here's CTV's Siobhan Morris.
The morning after his party was elected to a second majority government.
I didn't realize, they didn't tell me we had our whole team there, but thank you, everyone.
Doug Ford again talked about togetherness.
Whether you're a longtime supporter, voted PC for the first time, or cast your ballot for any other party, now is the time to unite. Now is the time to build Ontario.
Ford doesn't think a historic low voter turnout presents any roadblocks.
Well, it's pretty clear that people gave us a mandate with 83 seats.
More than the 76 seats Progressive Conservatives secured in 2018, and more than the 67 they had before this election.
It is an unusual thing for an incumbent to increase their seat total, particularly when their first election was a sweep election.
Political analyst Scott Reed explains how these PCs did it, exiting the COVID-19 era.
They found a narrative, a storyline that made sense and fit Doug Ford, and then they matched it with the mood of the province.
You look at our party today versus 4 years ago, it's very, very different.
Ford talks about securing support from skilled trades unions as a sign of that change. The PCs clashed with education unions in their last round of negotiations, with months of rotating strikes. With new talks on the horizon, the Premier thanked teachers.
Especially the last 2 years, it was a challenging time, but you stepped up to the plate and you worked very, very hard. So we'll sit down and have a fair negotiation with the head of the teachers union. But I just want to make sure the head of the teachers union listen to their members.
Ford's first order of business, though, is to form his cabinet.
We're going to sit down and look at every single region, look at every person's skill level.
Ford won't commit to a timeline to introduce his cabinet or bring back the pre-pandemic budget.
For the most part, the budget's going to be the budget. So we are going to tweak the ODSP because it's the right thing to do.
Longer term, Ford's talking about running a tighter ship.
There's always better ways, and with technology too coming on board, there's better ways of delivering services in a more efficient way at a lower cost.
He says those savings could be used for healthcare and education. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
For the New Democrats, leader Andrea Horwath, this was her 4th and now final attempt to become premier.
You know what? We didn't get there this time. We didn't get there this time. But just know that we will continue to be the powerful champions people need us to be in order to fight Doug Ford's cuts.
She stepped down as NDP leader after 13 years at the party's helm. That means there will be a leadership race for the NDP. The Liberals' Stephen Del Duca had only led the party for 2 years but failed to make much headway.
Earlier this evening, I informed our party president of my decision to step down from the leadership of our party, and I have asked him to meet with the executive to set a leadership contest for as soon as is reasonable.
Not only did the Liberals fail to win enough seats for official party status, Del Duca also lost in his own riding of North Toronto, or north of Toronto, rather. First, check on the weather now. Let's look at what the weekend looks like. Chance of showers overnight. Saturday, mainly cloudy. We're going to see a little bit more of the same on Sunday, mix of sun and clouds out there. There's a look at the next 24 hours. 14 degrees when you wake up with a mix of sun and clouds. We're going to reach that high of 19 around 4:30 and continuing to see the same mix of sun and clouds out there. Here's what it's like out there right now. 17 degrees with a chance of showers. Well, with the warmer weather, parts of the downtown are starting to come alive again. Tourists and locals itching to get out and do something, but do businesses have the ability to meet the pent-up demand? Here's CTV's Leah LaRocque.
A picture in front of Parliament, a must for Paulo Bulgar.
Yeah, no, we are here for vacation.
Bulgar here with his family from Chicago.
The buildings are beautiful. I think the nature as well, the river, I love it.
Ottawa's tourism industry is bouncing back after it came to a halt during the pandemic.
It's pretty amazing. We've been feeling housebound, so getting on a plane and flying somewhere's been fantastic.
Hotels are booking up almost at pre-pandemic levels.
We really are open for business. We're here to inspire, and we're anxious to welcome people back to town.
And business owners are already seeing a difference.
We're getting a lot of bookings, so we think that it's going to be very busy. We hope and we believe that there's a lot of pent-up demand.
Ottawa's airport is also getting busier with travelers flying in and out of the capital. In fact, on Thursday, they marked their busiest day yet of 2022 with more than 4,600 departing passengers.
But tourism here won't be fully back to normal until business travel like conferences and in-person meetings return.
We still have to wait for business events and in-person meetings to come back full throttle. That's still slowing our recovery, but we're looking good from a leisure perspective.
It's amazing. Can't believe you're actually back.
But nothing is slowing barbecue lovers down on Spark Street. After a 2-year hiatus, Ribfest is back.
The excuse to come back on Spark Street. I missed it during the pandemic, and it's just fun to be back.
Maxine Huppe waiting years for this bite.
Very good. Those are the best from Texas.
Bulgar has a few more nights booked in a hotel. His family finally getting that long overdue getaway.
It's wonderful, especially with a day like this. It's a very nice day, and with friends, it's very special.
Leah LaRocque, CTV News.
Well, some more bad news for drivers. Gas prices are about to hit another record high this weekend.
It's insane. I hope something happens, something changes, because this is unsustainable.
Energy industry expert Dan McTague says Ottawa will see prices jump to $2.11 and even as high as $2.12 by Sunday. But are the prices the new norm, or will they go even higher?
I think it's highly unlikely unless the world goes through some kind of great recession, which is obviously very possible. This is an energy super cycle. It's an energy crisis, and it isn't just confined to gasoline and diesel, natural gas and propane. It's also, of course, electricity.
McTague says Ottawa could see prices as high as $2.20 or $2.25 this summer, unless, he says, the newly re-elected provincial government sticks to their promise of lowering gas taxes by 5.7 cents per litre. Well, the Ottawa Red Blacks back in action tonight in their final preseason game, taking on the Montreal Alouettes. The Red Blacks couldn't hold on to a fourth quarter lead as the Alouettes pushed back to take this one late in the game. 27-26, the final score. The Red Blacks open their season in Winnipeg on June 10th. Well, still to come tonight, a full look at your weather forecast and a plan for the new Salvation Army on Montreal Road gets committee approval. Those details next.
Get Ottawa's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Salvation Army's site plan for Montreal Road was approved today by a planning committee, but the new proposal, given a green light today, contains fewer shelter beds from 140 to 99. CTV's Dave Charbonneau reports.
The city's planning committee today endorsed the Salvation Army's site plan that includes a shelter on Montreal Road in Vanier.
Vanier's always been known as, one of the places where we have a lot of transients and a lot of...
No matter
How deep the addiction, it's not too late. Get the help you need with the proven success of Canada's leading addictions rehab facility. From a team who understands the struggle, we're on your side. Addictions.ca.
Sometimes pain is worth it. And sometimes it's not. Colgate Sensitive Pro Relief provides instant and long-lasting relief that is clinically proven. Start blocking sensitivity pain.
Everything I do it my way. Everywhere I go, I hear them say, like it's never been done before. Do it like the moment is finally yours. Do it for you.
Techniseal products for exterior surfaces. Before, after. Techniseal, long lasting.
A lot of crime, etc. Though I understand there's a need for it.
Chantal Pellerin lives near the new site and says although it's needed, it might be too far for those using the current facilities.
It makes it difficult for people who, are already sort of like centrally located downtown and now have to travel down here to get to get those services that they need.
The Salvation Army made its case before committee, saying the services it will provide at the new facility are urgently needed.
Whether that's emergency shelter, whether that's someone who's trying to get back on their feet through transitional independent living, or need additional medical supports that can be provided by nurses or doctors through the relationship with Ottawa Inner City Health. Those programs exist as part of the rest of the facility.
It's not that we don't want anyone here. We just want a reasonable facility here that fits in with the community.
Drew Dobson owns Finnegan's Pub, right next to where the new shelter will be. He's worried that it could be too big for the area.
The city does need shelter facilities, and the ones in the market are all aging, and maybe it's time for a new modern facility. But the new modern facility should not exceed 100-bed maximum. They will overwhelm the community you put them in if you build them too big.
The proposed design will be built mostly behind the thrift store as to keep it off the main road. Councillor Fleury is opposed to the idea, saying there are better ways to support the city's most vulnerable.
I will continue to advocate and push my colleagues so that public dollars go to models that are modern and that bring dignity and bring stability. And the only way to do that is when someone has a key to a unit with a lease.
Reaction to the relocation is mixed.
I don't think it's going to bring down the neighborhood.
It's really tough, but if my heart is speaking, I would have to say wherever there's room, we have to do this.
It's a service that's needed though, so I understand, but yeah, I'm on sort of like the fence, right, in terms of how I feel about that.
The new design includes 32 supportive housing units and 99 beds. With this approval, the Salvation Army is one step closer to finally getting a new facility. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
All right, time for a full look at your weather forecast now. Here's what you can expect. Right now, 17 degrees. We already told you that. There's a look at the satellite radar moving through the region. We've got some rain coming, unfortunately. Tonight's lows, 11 degrees in Ottawa, 11 in Cornwall, 12 degrees in Brockville, 12 in Kingston, 7 in Bancroft, 9 degrees in Mont-Tremblant, 10 in Montreal, 10 in Gatineau, 9 in Maniwaki. Here's a look at tomorrow's highs across the region. 19 in Kingston, 20 in Brockville, 20 in Cornwall, 19 in Ottawa, 19 in Pembroke, 19 in Petawawa, 19 in Gatineau, 18 in Maniwaki, and 20 degrees in Mont-Tremblant. The 7-day weather forecast is brought to you by Presler Law Firm. You don't pay unless we win. Call 1-800-JUSTICE. And here's a look at that 7-day forecast. Going to be a mix of sun and cloud through the weekend. We're going to see a high of 19 degrees tomorrow. We're going to see that climb a little bit to 24 on Sunday, and then a bit of a messy rest of the week. We've got rain in the forecast Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just throughout. So certainly keep that in mind as we get into the week ahead. Still to come, home sales in Ottawa taking a hit last month. We'll tell you why. And the battle in Eastern Ontario, why the relationship between CP and the farmers has gone off the rails.
Bell Media Weekenders is back, powered by Bargain Board.
If you're looking for the best events and activities to experience in the National Capital Region, I've got you covered. Hi, I'm Sam McDade, your Bell Media Weekender. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV and your favorite Bell Media radio stations. This includes Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA.
Bell Media Weekenders, powered by Bargain Board, Ottawa's newest and largest sports store.
Well, home sales in Ottawa plummeted in May. Ottawa's real estate board reports sales declined 19% last month. The dip attributed to higher interest rates.
Planning a spring spruce up? Visit your local Ashley Home store. Or click the link to save on this season's top styles. Ashley Home Store. Techniseal products for exterior surfaces. Before, after. Techniseal, long lasting.
Let's do this. I make this look good. How's it going, bud? Everything here is completely normal. Good night.
I will destroy this planet. You can run faster.
Gotta go fast.
Fly higher.
Did your butt just turn into a helicopter?
Yeah.
And punch harder.
For a guy named Knuckles, you are really bad at punching.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now streaming on Paramount Plus.
Rates, higher cost of living, and the storm that cut power to so many homes. There's a battle raging in Eastern Ontario between farmers and CP Rail. The issue revolves around private train crossings that intersect their farmland. The rail company giving notice that those farmers are on the hook for the maintenance costs and repairs. CTV's Nate Vandermeer reports.
$12.75 total. Farmer Eric Vandenbroek recently received notice from CP Rail that the private rail crossing behind his farm needs to be upgraded and that he will be on the hook for the thousands of dollars it will cost.
So they've maintained it and looked after everything for over 130 years. So I would say they need to continue to do that.
The rail line was installed in 1886 and cuts through Vandenbroek's land, separating him from a 12-acre field on the other side.
I'd say probably on average like 1,000 times a year, probably, that we would cross that.
CP Rail says existing federally regulated grade crossings must meet the requirements of the grade crossings regulations by November 28, 2024. And have sent farmers in the region contracts to sign, asking them to pay for the upgrades and yearly maintenance, and even carry liability insurance worth millions of dollars. Vandenbroek says if he doesn't agree to the contract and maintenance costs, he risks losing his crossing altogether.
This road is so narrow,
forcing his farm equipment onto country roads to access his field, creating another potential hazard.
It's much more difficult with all the cars, and the farm equipment is bigger and obviously much slower moving. And people take chances.
Other farmers who received contracts say CP is using a loophole to push the costs onto them, saying there was no agreement with farmers when the land was purchased in 1886. The issue is how the crossings are designated. Farm crossings you don't pay, private crossings you do.
There was no designation for a farm crossing up until 1888. They're considering our crossing a private crossing. And it's a farm crossing. It's not a private crossing.
Crop farmer Estella Rose says they are being asked to upgrade their crossing with signage, which separates a 40-acre field with no other access.
They said, well, it's necessary to have signage to know to stop. It's stupid because it's a field and a field on the other side. There's no need for signage.
In a statement to CTV News, Transport Canada says under their grade crossing regulations, railway companies, road authorities, and private authorities such as farmers share responsibility for managing the safety at federally regulated grade crossings. Vandenbroek says there are talks amongst farmers to work together to try and fight the changes.
It's David versus Goliath, right? And hopefully there's enough of us little Davids out there to stand up because obviously CP Rail is a pretty big Goliath.
Nate Vandermeer, CTV News, near Winchester.
Coming up, a historic night at the Scripps National Spelling Bee and Tweed's claim to fame, the tiny jailhouse and its new use where visitors try to spend more time. Well, history was made Thursday night when 14-year-old Harini Logan won the first ever spell off at the 2022 Scripps National Spelling Bee.
Nyandabai.
Nandubay.
Moorhen.
Mooragn.
Logan went head-to-head with 12-year-old Vikram Raju.
No matter how deep the addiction, it's not too late. Get the help you need with the proven success of Canada's leading addictions rehab facility. From a team who understands the struggle, we're on your side. Addictions.ca.
What if I could hail a ride with my phone?
What if the future of banking wasn't a bank? Neo Financial. It's time for new.
Are you planning on renovating your home, your kitchen, your bathroom? Almost all renovations start with demolition. Call Manpower Demolition, Ontario's leader in deconstruction and demolition. Call 905-597-8333. 905-597-8333. Better yet, email us, info@manpowerdemolition.ca.
Ho, ho, ho! The big holiday season with big savings is on now at Lashman's Bad Boy. Huge discounts on in-stock major and small appliances. Prices start as low as $168. Get all your new home appliances and gifts before the holidays begin. Plus, shop online at badboy.ca.
Contestants were tested on how many words they could correctly spell. Within 90 seconds, Logan spelled 21 out of 26 words correctly. And CTV Ottawa has a Kingston-based correspondent who's already done some hard time covering local tourist attraction, the caverous and creepy Kingston Penitentiary. Tonight, we've sent in CTV's Kimberly Johnson to report on another famous jail. It's a little more intimate.
A trip back in time to the Eastern Ontario community of Tweed, where if you committed a crime and were sent to the big house, you'd have to use your imagination.
Small but mighty.
A small but mighty building indeed, that famously boasts being the smallest jailhouse in North America. Built in 1898, 3 cells used to hold the area's most hardened criminals and be used for a bit of hospitality for travelers during the Depression.
They were allowed to stay here during the cold winter nights, and village folk would bring food.
The small town jail, which sits just north of Napanee, even boasts a great escape.
There was a man who had been picked up by the police chief and housed here. And it wasn't long after that the police chief saw him on the street again. He'd hacked his way out of the door.
Was he ever seen again?
Oh, yes. Yeah. He was a frequent inhabitant.
The 3 tiny cells were eventually merged into one, making space for a desk in the office and later used by the Ontario Provincial Police as a community station. Now it's a free tourist attraction.
It's become a bit of a destination. There isn't a day on a weekend that you can't go by and see people out here taking their pictures.
Still, there's something criminal going on, as it's not actually the smallest in North America, only being beaten out by about a foot by a jail in Rodney, Ontario, near Chatham.
They did the measurements and so on. Well, it happens to be the largest of the small jails, but it was the first one to recognize the significance of it.
The old jail is open weekends to visitors, and the good news is the people who spend time here now can come and go as they please. Kimberly Johnson, CTV News, Tweed.
Coming up, a final check on the weather, and everyone loves a parade, especially if it's filled with dogs. Time now for a final check on the weather forecast. Here's what you can expect when you wake up: 15 degrees and partly cloudy in the morning. Well, finally for us tonight, around 100 Corgi dogs and their owners took part in a parade to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Walking near Buckingham Palace, many of the dogs were festive neck chiefs with Union Jack flags. One Corgi was spotted in a ceremonial uniform. The Queen is known to love Corgis and has owned more than 30 over the course of her reign. That is CTV News for this Friday, May 3rd. CTV News continues online anytime.
Techniseal products for exterior surfaces.
before, after, after, after. Technoseal, long lasting.
What if I could order delivery from anywhere?
What if I could watch any movie I wanted without leaving my couch?
What if I could hail a ride with my phone?
What if the future of banking wasn't a bank? Neo Financial. It's time for new.
A drink that's delicious and has fewer calories than a glass of wine. Where have you been hiding? Kettle One Botanicals. Delightful taste, fewer calories than a glass of wine.
With our digital team keeping you up to date at ctvnewsottawa.ca. You can also watch our newscast live on the CTV News app anytime, and for news on the go, you can listen to News Talk Radio 580 CFRA. For all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a good night.
Riddler is asking for you. You came. I've been trying to reach you.
Breaking news in Cochrane now. Mounties have just released a
Well, Mounties dealing with another luring incident in Cochrane. It is the second this week, this time targeting 2 young boys.
Good morning to you. It is 5:30 on your Friday morning. Thank you for starting your day off with us. We're going to head right over to Jacqueline with a look at that weather out there. Welcome to the weather desk, Jacqueline.
Good morning, and do I have a present for you? Look at this beautiful sunrise that's happening. Currently, right now in Calgary, we're sitting at 8 degrees, mainly sunny, light winds, but hey, hold on to your hats. It is going to be gusty. Brittany, I'll have the full 3 to 5 day forecast on the way, and unfortunately, there is some rain.
Well, Jackie, I mean, you are the gift this morning for us here on CTV Morning Live. We're so happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
We'll take a look now out onto city streets, and things are in fair driving condition right across the city, as well as stretching out onto area highways. I'll have your full traffic report coming up in just a few minutes. There's a look now from Glenmore Trail and Deerfoot Trail in the city's southeast, and gorgeous colors there in the sky with that sunrise.
Thank you, Brittany. Mounties in Cochrane dealing with yet another luring incident involving children.
This is the second report of luring in the community this week, and police are hoping people come forward to help in their investigation. Austin Lee joins us live from Cochrane, and Austin police are still looking for the suspect.
Yeah, that's right, Joelle. And there's no word on whether or not this is the same suspect that police have in mind in connection to a separate luring attempt in Cochrane that we heard about earlier this week. Now, fortunately, in both cases, all the children involved got away safe and were unharmed. But obviously, this is a a real concern for the community here. There's a couple of daycare centers as well as a school just a few blocks away from where this latest incident took place. Now, this incident we're referring to here happened on Carolina Crescent at around 3:40 yesterday afternoon. That's when RCMP say a man approached two boys aged 8 and 11 and tried to lure them into his van. The suspect is thought to be between 40 and 50 years old with light skin and orange or red hair and a beard. He was driving a white panel van. Now, this follows an incident on Monday where an 11-year-old girl says she was approached by a man in a van claiming to be running an ice cream business and asking her to get in. That situation was in the Sunset Park and Sunset Way area, which is about 5 kilometers north of yesterday's incident. The girl pretended to call her father and then walked away from the suspect. The suspect here is in his 40s with a pot belly and shaggy brown hair, which may have been dyed. He was driving, again, a white van and rusted wheel wells. And Joel, police are hoping that anyone around this neighborhood here, this is Carolina Crescent, hoping anyone may have some doorbell cam footage to assist in their investigation.
All right, Austin, thanks so much.
And a warning from Calgary police about an online extortion scam targeting teenage boys. Police say they have received nearly 50 complaints since the start of the year. In most cases, the scammer poses as a young woman and messages victims through Instagram or Snapchat. Over time, the victim is convinced to send intimate photos or videos. Those who comply are then told to give the scammer money or the video and photos will be shared. Calgary police say these cases are tough to investigate because the scammer often lives in a different city or country. Investigators say it is still important to report to police if you have been a victim.
Well, a man is in hospital in serious condition after a crash on McLeod Trail in 53rd Avenue Southwest. Just after 6 last night, police shut down a section of southbound McLeod after an adult man was hit by a vehicle. Police believe he walked onto the busy road and was hit. The driver remained on scene. Southbound McLeod did reopen at 9:30 p.m.
Alberta has its first case of monkeypox, making it the third province in Canada. Ontario has 2 confirmed cases, Quebec just over 50. Alberta's first case is in an adult. They are in isolation as health officials do contact tracing. The patient had close contact with another known case outside of Alberta. AHS not releasing the health zone the infected person is in. Dr. Dina Henshaw says monkeypox does not spread easily between people and believes the risk of transmission in this isolated case is low. An expert in health policy says, while it is important to pay attention to monkeypox, it is not a time to panic.
From the perspective of global public health, this is a big deal. You know, we're seeing another infectious disease spread around the world. This is something we need to understand and something we need to get a handle on. From an individual risk perspective, I think the concern is still relatively low.
Now, globally, there are more than 550 confirmed cases in 30 countries. Symptoms of monkeypox include fever, swollen lymph nodes, aches, and rashes. If you are experiencing those symptoms or believe that you have had prolonged exposure to someone with monkeypox, Dr. Henshaw says you should isolate and call 811.
Well, the Prime Minister visited Siksika First Nation for the largest land settlement award in Canadian history. The feds will pay the nation $1.3 billion for a wrongful land surrender more than a century ago. The land seizure happened in 1910. Siksika began its legal fight with Ottawa back in the 60s. Now, the historic moment for the First Nation will help it on the path towards financial autonomy. The chief says they'll invest in education and infrastructure and hope to set up their own police force. The Prime Minister and the chief both say they hope for a brighter future.
Because it is such a challenging responsibility and because it is so complex, it is important as well to take time when we do reach an important milestone like this agreement to pause and say, this is a good day. This is a good day for Siksika, but it's a good day for Canada as well.
When we talk about a $1.3 billion, again, that's a bargain deal. And it's not about the money, it's about the opportunities that can come from those monies. And I think it's now we're getting out of the time where we're surviving and we're getting into the next generation of thriving.
The ceremony took place at the Treaty Flats near the Blackfoot Crossing Historical Park. That is where Treaty 7 was signed back in 1877. June is Indigenous Peoples History Month.
Well, an animal rights group is not happy with Kevin Costner's latest role. PETA is asking the Hollywood heavyweight to step down as parade marshal for this year's Calgary Stampede. In an open letter, it says Costner should distance himself from the event, arguing the stampede has led to the death of more than 70 animals. PETA says horses have suffered fractured legs, broken backs, and heart attacks in the chuck wagon races. Costner has not publicly responded to the letter. And it is a little more than a month until the stampede begins, and the event schedule is shaping up.
Yeah, the Stampede announcing its star-studded slate of free shows at the Coca-Cola stage, and you'll definitely recognize some of the acts coming to Calgary. Tim Brooke has more.
It's a busy time at Stampede Park. BMO Center construction is taking center stage, but work is also being done on the Dream Home and on what's soon to be the Midway. There's also this.
Today we're standing on the future site of the Coca-Cola stage.
The former Coke stage was demolished to make way for a new build. So this year, some of the Stampede's marquee free concerts will happen here in the southwest corner of the grounds. Expect it to be a very popular place. Carly Rae Jepsen will headline a busy 10 days. She'll be joined by Alicia Cara, Milky Chance, and the Cold War Kids. Kyle McCurney will also play in front of a hometown crowd.
There's definitely something about a nice day when the Coke stage is happening and there's people present and the artists are up there killing it. It's a vibe for sure.
In total, 48 bands will take to the new stage. That's almost 50% more